In this set of video notes, we're looking at concept 6, coterminal angles. So coterminal angles are terminal meaning end and co meaning together. So two angles that end together at the same place. So if we are looking at this angle over here, I'm going to use blue, this is our initial side. It's always on the positive x, and then this is our terminal side. And that's what we're talking about where they end. So if I have angles that are coterminal, that means they both end at the same spot. So if we look at degrees, that means I have an angle and then I can add 360 to it and end at the same spot. Or I can subtract 360 from it and get an angle as well. So we're going to look at adding and subtracting to positive and negative angles. So let's look at our first example, and we have angle 65. So 65, if we start here at the initial side and 65 is somewhere in here, then if we want to create an angle that has a positive measure and one with a negative measure, we can add 360. So if I go ahead and take 65 and add 360, I end up with the same terminating side. So if I just take 65 plus 360, I get 425, and that's our positive measure. And then if I take that same angle and subtract, so if I start at 65 and subtract and go backwards, I can get a negative angle. So if I have 65 minus 360, then I have 295, and it's negative. So those are my positive and my negative coterminal angles. Go ahead, pause the video and try number 25. Okay, for number 25, we start at our initial side, always positive x, and we're going to go 410. So that means positive, we went 360, plus how much makes 410? So we have 360 plus another 50, and we get that angle as 410. Now if we want to get another positive angle, we can add or subtract because we actually went by 360, so we could add or subtract. I want to get in the habit of adding 360 for my positive, so I will take 410, add to it 360, so that would be 470 degrees is my positive angle. Because what I could do is actually take 410, add 360, and I end up at the same spot. So if I want to do a negative angle, and I'm going to go backwards, so I start at this angle, and I'm going to go backwards 360, 410 minus 360 is back at 50, but then I want a negative angle. 50 is positive. So if I had 410 minus 360, that would still be a 50-degree angle. So I need to go back around again in the negative direction and subtract 360. So I continue all the way around again to this side. So that means I subtract 360 again, and I actually have a negative 310 degrees as my negative angle. Go ahead and try 26 for homework. Let's look at 27. We're going to start off this time with a negative angle. So we start still at this initial side, and we negative 88, so that's not quite 90. So we're still over here. And if I want to get a positive angle, I can take negative 88 and add to it 360. So if I subtract, I take negative 88 plus 360, I get 272 degrees. So that would mean I would take this terminating side and I would add 360, and it would be 272 degrees from the initial side. I went 272 this way. Now if I want a negative angle, well, I've already got a negative, but let's get another one. So I subtract 360 this time, and I'm going to start with my angle right here and I'm going to go backwards. So backwards 360 ends up here. So I started at negative 88, subtract 360. So we would have a negative 448 degree angle. Go ahead, pause the video and try number 28. For 28, we go ahead and start with our initial side. We went negative 120, that's past 90. So we have negative 120 over here. If we want to get a positive angle, we're going to add 360. So if I take negative 120, add 360. So I am going to take this angle right here, and I'm going to add 360. So I end up with 240 degrees. So that's from the initial side over to here is 240. Then I wanted to find a negative angle. Well, I have a negative angle, but I also want to get another one. So if I go backwards again, 360, I'll end up with another coterminal angle. So subtract 360, and that way I get negative 480 degrees is my negative. Go ahead and do number 29 for homework, and we're going to have another video to work with pi.